Okay, so this Mavic Pro drone came in last week and it had issues with the gimbal. The gimbal would point up and down or flop up and down, and it couldn't actually find its center point. And it turned out to be this ribbon cable where it sits on top of the bracket. You can just, if you can see it there at the top, split. So change that, and I hadn't intended spending much money on this. I want to see what was wrong with it first, or see was it fixable. So that was a success. You connect the battery, the gimbal now works. The only problem with that is we're not getting video feed back at the controller. So next up is to change out the actual ribbon cable that gives the video feed, and hopefully that fixes it. But as you can see, that's working fine. So I'm just going to go through the process of changing out this ribbon cable from this, and it shouldn't take 15-20 minutes, hopefully. So I've already taken the cover off. I've shown how to do that in another video, so I'm not going to go through it again. To take the camera out of the inside of the drone, you'll see there's, I've already taken some of the screws out of this, but there's 1, 2, 3 and 4. So you need to remove those 4. You need to pull out this white cable here. If you can see that, okay. These 2 ribbon cables here have to be popped up, and there's 2 more ribbon cables here. They have to be popped up as well. So we can make a start. Catch this guy, pull him out. Pull him out to one side because he has to pull down through the body of the drone that way. These just pop up like little Legos, like that. You should probably use something plastic if you have it, but if you're careful, it should be fine. So we're going to remove the last of these screws. The gimbal should come straight out. Like so. As you can see, this is the cable here, it's the video connection. It feeds down through this arm, back up through this arm, around the back of this, out the bag, down through here and into the actual camera itself. So start by removing these 2 here. I think all these screws are the exact same, but just for handiness sake, we'll put them all together with their parts, just so they go back together handy. Got a small piece of plastic here to be removed. And he just pulls off, the screw can stay in them. We've got 1 screw here at the back. 2 on top. These 2 here at the back. This slides backwards off the camera, like so. Now to take the lens off, there's a screw on each side. And these two screws are longer than the rest of them, so keep them separate. Right, now the camera lens just pulls straight out, like so, and away. There's terminal paste on the back of it. So we need to just pop off this connection without doing any harm, like so. And that's that off. Put the camera on one side. Now we need to remove the cable from the gimbal. Like so. That's it. That's all you have to do to take the cable out. Nice and simple. So just get the new replacement and offer up against it, make sure it's the same, and then swap them over. Okay, so we have old cable, new cable, and the straight end goes into the back of the camera. Actually a bit of damage there on that one, that's the old one. So we just make sure it's the same length before we carry on, because if they're not, we don't run into trouble when we're halfway through. And they're fine. So a nice thing to do is probably start at the camera and work our way back up through it. So sit the connector in and push it home till it clicks. Use your nail or something similar just to make sure it's in. And that's home. And the cable fits out the top here. Like so. So you place those two screws on the side first. Don't over tighten these. Again, tight is tight enough. The very tiny threads, you end up stripping them. This is a fairly simple fix. Like, on a scale of difficulty, it's probably about a 2 to 3 out of 5. I think anyone could be able to do it. Right, I'm going to swap this to the opposite side now. Like that. So we need now to leave a little bit of slack in here to allow for the movement of the arm to go left and right, and then follow around the back of this. Again, cocktail stick is nice and handy for this sort of thing. like so. And again, just make sure that you've got enough space on the cable that it can move freely. So then at this end, this has to click in here. Like so. Okay, and that covers on again. Just make sure everything kind of fits as it should. Actually, a wee bit too much length here, so we're just going to pull it down. And that's much better. It's not catching. Push him back in and bend him around the corner. Okay, that's it in. Now we just need to get this last cable and cover back in line. There was one piece that doesn't want to play ball. Okay. Okay, so again, we want to check all movement. Nothing's pinched. Everything turned as it should. So that movement's fine. That movement is fine. And that movement's fine. So it's only a case now of plugging it back in. Just line up the two tabs on the corners and push it home. And it should give a little click. And that's it. Fingers crossed it works. So the issue this had, originally, as I said, gimbal wasn't working. But after we replaced the actual flat cable, we had no image transmission to the drone, or from the drone to the controller. But the gimbal worked fine. Okay, so white cable goes back in. It'll only fit in one way, so don't worry about it. Then we need to get these to sit back where they were. Don't force these connections. If they don't feel right, don't push it down. But they should snap into place like that. And like that. Now we're going to test this with the battery before we go any further. So we're going to get our controller and the iPad in this case. Power it on and power on the drone. And open the Go4 app. It's a good sign. Perfect. Right, time for reassembly. So this is the new top we fixed up the other day. Forget to plug in the GPS module first. Set it into place. And I should catch the front 4 little tabs. Like so. There's 2 here at the sides, 1 here, 1 here. And they should pop in. There's 2 tabs here and here. Like that. Just make sure it's pushed in equally the whole way around. And that's it. It's a matter of re-screwing it back together. Don't overscrew these as well because they are into plastic. There's only a few then on the front and that's it. This one here is stripped already, so can't do anything with it. These two plates pop in. Like so. Then just these final two screws. That's it, fully reassembled. Okay, so if that video was any use, hit the like button and subscribe. And thanks for watching. Cheers.